They want him to be more healthy. So by lining him up out wide or in the slot, they want... You fucking thirsty or something?
What do you want me to do, man? It's like 100 degrees outside.
I mean, why don't you make some noise while you're at it? Anyway.
We are making noise.
Anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Fantasy Buds podcast, episode number 2. If you listened to the first one, we are sorry and thank you. And if you're listening to the second one, we thank you also. It's a lot of things we had to work through for our first episode. We were kind of like just a blind dick, just thrusting around in all infinite directions. So we got through all those kinks, and now we're ready to. We're learning. To my right, we have host
Tim Stewart Jr.
That's right. You didn't have to add that.
Well,
I like how you put
to my left.
Well, I kind of had to for legal reasons. So
to my left, we have Mark.
Mark. Yep.
The banana hat.
This is my new favorite hat, man. I'm never taking this hat off. You don't understand.
Great. Well, I guess we should start talking about fantasy.
Yeah,
let's get right into it, gentlemen.
We're going to talk about some running backs today.
Yes.
Mainly some guys we have in our top 12 to 15. I did 15. I know you guys said you did.
I did 12.
Yeah.
Because I don't give a shit past that.
I did 10 because I don't give a shit past that. So.
All right. Well.
So I'm going to ring off.
Yeah. Who's your number one? Who do you got number one this year?
You want me to just run through the list and see what angers you guys the most?
I just take it guy by guy and then we'll go from there.
Yeah. Let's
go guy by guy.
So this is just a list of guys that I like and think this is where I personally think they will finish. But we'll go into it. So number one, I still have Christian McCaffrey because he's still CMC. I don't give a shit about the injury history. He's still going to be the same guy. I just don't. I mean, he's number one for me.
I think it's fair. Think about it. You're talking about a guy who played 4 games last year, and he
played 7.
7.
All right. Well, sorry, you guys.
2020, it was 3.
2020, It was 3.
Do you know how much he still scored?
Yeah, last year he averaged 26 points a game when he played.
He averaged 30 points a game during that 2020 season also.
2020 season, he did.
And 2021, he did the same.
And last year he averaged 4.5 yards a carry too, but he didn't get the ball that much. He only averaged 14 carries a game, which for running back of his caliber isn't great. But the wild thing is that in those 7 games, even though he was riddled with injuries, he still had 37 receptions. So,
and despite the injuries the past couple of years, everybody forgets that he played 3 full healthy seasons. And in those seasons, he was the RB10, RB2, and RB1.
Yep.
And he didn't have any injuries that were lingering or career-threatening.
No,
it wasn't anything with his Achilles.
No, we're talking about a foot and a
knee.
hamstring. Hamstring, it's like, it's honestly almost just throwing a dart at the wall, and you'll get a guy who has a hamstring issue in the NFL today. So
most running backs have a hamstring issue.
Yeah, and most of these guys are going to get hurt. I know you've said this a bunch of times, Brian. All these guys get hurt.
They're all going to...
Like, these guys...
It's very rare running backs play all 17 games
17 games now,
They weren't even playing all 16 games, but now they added another game. So this is where we're at.
I think that's definitely justifiable with McCaffrey. I have him at number 2 still this year.
Well, then who's your number 1?
The upside's still there. I have Jonathan Taylor at number 1.
Because I have Jonathan Taylor at number 2.
Okay,
so
and
you can...
The reason why...
Jonathan Taylor in top 3.
You don't?
Nope.
All right, we'll fucking get to you in a second.
I was gonna say, I want to hear why, definitely, but I do want to say he's number 1 for me because last year he had the most red zone touches in the whole league. The most valuable stat in fantasy football is obviously touchdowns. You're getting the most points for that. Jonathan Taylor, if he's getting all these opportunities in the red zone, inside the 10-yard line, which he actually had the most in the league last year with 42, the next closest guy had 30.
Yeah.
So it's not even close. The opportunity he's going to get, I don't care about Phillip Lindsey. Nyheim Hines, he can be relevant even without taking time away from JT. He can play in the slot. We've already heard rumors about him doing that. Dave has talked about that nonstop. They're using him in the slot. That's how they're going to get him more involved. JT is still going to be that same guy. He's young. He's fresh. He's up and coming. a lot of these guys are trending downwards. McCaffrey's coming off 2 injured years. JT hasn't even had, what he missed 1 game last year.
I
If
think
even,
so, yeah, and it wasn't even
Yeah.
a serious thing.
Given it's only been 2 seasons.
No, yes, he's still a very young player. He has not been in the league long, but he's just going to get all the opportunity. Also, a stat I like too is that Matt Ryan also did target running backs the most last year. So maybe that goes to Nyheim Hines, but I mean JT will probably get some of that too.
That's
so
what I wanted to say about Matt Ryan. He's a clear upgrade over Carson Wentz. And being Eagles fans, we well know Carson Wentz's style of play. It's a lot of garbage, but for the most part, he's looking for the big play. He's never been a check down
he does
guy.
not want to check the ball down.
Matt
that way.
Ryan has been that guy for at least the last few years of his career since he's getting, his
he's not scared to do that.
His career's dwindling down. He's not what he used to be. He's a shell of himself, but he can get. I think he's still a upgrade over Carson Wentz now in terms of fantasy
Oh, 100%.
for Jonathan Taylor.
Without a doubt.
Because if you just give him an extra 20 targets on the season next year than what he had last year, he very well could finish number 1. But that's,
Again, yeah.
I do have him number 2, but
I want to hear what Tim has to say about
I want to
this.
hear
Yeah,
this.
yeah, I want to.
Why is he not in your top
why
three?
is he not in your top
why
3?
he's not in my top 3 is mainly because of everywhere when you go, the Colts keep saying they want to get Nyheim Hines more involved.
Oops.
On top of that, and then you also bring in Phillip Lindsey. You guys say Phillip Lindsey isn't anything to worry about, but every team he goes to, he steals a bunch of carries. He sucks, but for some reason, he keeps getting carries.
To be honest, though,
So it's not that I'm saying that Jonathan Taylor's bad. It's just I'm saying, for me, if I have, which in our league, I have the 2nd overall pick, he's not even on my board at 2nd, even if he's there.
But even if Phillip Lindsey takes like 5 carries a game or like 5 to 8 carries a game from him, he could still easily be getting 21, 22, 25, like 20 to 25 carries a game. And if you're drafting a running back in the first round, that's still elite. Like, I'm never going to complain about that. Like, I mean, not everybody's Derrick Henry where it's 30 touches a game,
No, you're right,
all the
but you
time.
also- You're right, but you also got to realize, like you said to me the other day, he had 80% of the workload last year, pretty much, is what he had.
I don't remember the
They're gonna
exact stat, but I'm
throw-
pretty sure it was around like 75 to 80% of the snaps.
But now that they have Matt Ryan, they're probably going to throw the ball more. You don't bring in Matt Ryan, who's better than Carson Wentz, to just run the ball.
But he does but we also I also think it's interesting that he had the most running back targets last year
absolutely.
as well. And Nyheim Hines will definitely get some of that without a doubt. But like I said, the Colts have been using him out of the slot a lot. I could see that going a lot of different ways. I still think JT is going to eat. I still have him at number 1.
He probably will. I mean, like I said, it's not like he's still up there for me. I mean, I agree with you. I have CMC at 1, especially if he's healthy.
Who do you have ahead of Jonathan Taylor, though?
So I have ahead of Jonathan Taylor, I have Derrick Henry
I think
at 2.
that's fair.
The main reason I have
Okay.
Derrick Henry at 2 is because with A.J. Brown gone and Robert Woods now being pretty much the number 1, I really have a feeling that even though he got hurt, his carries are just going to go up.
Also, you're talking about a guy who last year averaged 30 touches a game.
That's what I'm saying. And granted, he got hurt last year, but still, I mean, the year before that, he broke 2,000 yards.
I don't have Derrick Henry in my top 3. He's actually right at number 5 for me.
That's fair because that's actually where I have Jonathan Taylor at.
Really?
I have
Okay.
Jonathan Taylor
I mean,
at 5.
I think it's fair to be concerned about Derrick Henry. He's 28. He's almost 30. He's just coming off a big injury.
Yeah.
Now look, that was also a foot problem he had. So
That's the thing, too. And if you remember, he was supposed to come back, and then it got pushed back because it didn't heal properly. That could be another thing, too.
And if we're not worried about the foot problem with CMC, then we can't be worried about it with Derrick Henry
Exactly.
either. So
Just close your fucking eyes, draft the top running backs.
yeah.
Yeah.
And hope for the best. I don't think you need to load up on them this year. Take one high
yeah.
and then load up on receiver.
Yeah.
But I mean, the guys I have in front of Derrick Henry are very fair reasons. So I have Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey. Switch those. Christian McCaffrey 1, Jonathan Taylor 2.
Right.
Dalvin Cook at 3.
This is interesting. I really want to hear why.
And Austin Eckler at 4.
I also have Austin Eckler at 4.
And the
Really?
reason why all those guys are ahead of Derrick Henry is targets.
Yeah.
Because, gentlemen, we play in PPR, full PPR.
I would say
leagues.
most leagues do.
Only.
Yeah.
So,
And if you're in half PPR or standard, don't fucking talk to me, all right? Full PPR is better.
That's the way
Suck
to
my
go.
dick, and that's a stamp of
Okay,
approval.
so your top, let me just make sure I got it right. So your top 5, it's CMC, Jonathan Taylor, Austin Eckler, Dalvin Cook, not in any order. Austin Eckler, Dalvin Cook, and then Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
I really want to. So I want to hear what you're. So it's mainly just targets for Dalvin Cook, and I can agree with that because really nobody's challenging him for snaps there. Madison only plays when Cook goes down. He's just pretty much a safety net there.
Talking about, bro, CJ Hamm, the absolute tank.
Dalvin Cook gets a lot of goal line carries. He still gets a lot of touches. People act like he missed all these games last year. He only missed 4 games last year. So, I still think he can be that guy as well. I have him at 6.
I think he
Dalvin
will
Cook.
be that guy because it just kind of lines up that way. He's more primed to have a healthier year than what he's had last year. He kind of always has a banged up year and then he bounces back with more health. But his new coach now, Kevin O'Connell, he was the Rams offensive coordinator in 2020 and 2021, both top 10 offenses, both with Jared Goff and Matt Stafford. I think by them going through the passing game now, Dalvin Cook will not only have way more targets than usual, he will also be getting all the goal line carries.
True.
First and second downs, probably even third. Even if they run just below average, he's still getting all the work plus the targets.
True.
So in full PPR, I think Dalvin Cook is more valuable than a lot of people give him credit for.
It's interesting. The Vikings also have a new regime. Just so they're not really.
Yeah.
They really don't have any ties to Dalvin Cook, so they're not going to be afraid to fucking run his ass into the ground.
Nope.
No.
But we've heard all these things about the Vikings being a pass-first offense this year. Now, that can also benefit Dalvin Cook because he's not coming off the field. Who's he coming off the field for? Maybe CJ Hamm and goal line sometimes.
Yep.
Maybe,
Sometimes
Madison goes in just to give him a break. But in all the dangerous situations, Cook's going to be in the game.
Yeah.
They want him to be more healthy. So by lining him up out wide or in the slot, they want you fucking thirsty or something.
What do you want me to do, man? It's like 100 degrees outside.
I mean, why don't you make some noise while you're at it? Anyway,
We are making noise.
Anyway, yeah, Dalvin Cook, you don't even have to think about it this year. He's high on my list, and I'd be happy to have him.
Dave has the 9th pick in our league, and he keeps asking me who to pick, and I keep saying I really consider Dalvin Cook because
I have Dalvin Cook at 9.
Because I know that the top 5 he's not going to go that in our league, so
No shot.
he's going to fall, and I think whoever gets him with a late pick is getting a steal, and Dalvin Cook, in my opinion, because he still hasn't showed us anything to show he's falling off. He just was a little banged up last year. He was still great when he played.
Yeah, and the Austin Eckler pick. That's the same thing, I think. Even though they drafted Isaiah Spiller, I think he will take away some goal line opportunities. They're gonna give Austin Eckler a little bit more rest this year because they used him a lot last year. However, I think he will have well over 1,000 scrimmage yards. He's never had 1,000 yards in either category, receiving or rushing.
Yep.
So by him having all those touchdowns last year, it's going to be hard to project him to be as high as he was last year. So that's why I kind of have him at 4. But in full PPR with the catches that he's going to get, I think he's one of the safer picks in the draft, especially having Justin Herbert as your quarterback.
He's also a guy who's proved that he really doesn't need a lot of volume to eat. Like, he's very efficient with the volume he gets. Even if he gets 10 to 12 carries that game, he's probably going to get you a touchdown. He's one of the most efficient players in the league. He also was second in target share for running backs last year. So he's getting a big chunk. He's getting a 14% target share as a running back. That's really damn high. And obviously Justin Herbert, one of the best up-and-coming young quarterbacks. He's, barring injury, Eckler's going to eat. Don't expect 20 touchdowns again, maybe, but I could still see 14, 15 total.
The good thing about Austin Eckler is over the last 3 seasons, he's had 267 targets.
For a running back.
That's
crazy.
So that's 6
crazy.
targets a game. I mean, most running backs don't even get 40 targets in a season. Because
Yeah.
Derrick Henry, the reason why he's below Austin Eckler, Derrick Henry has never had more than 30 targets in a season.
You're
He just is not
100%
involved
right.
they just
You're
don't really
100%
involve
right.
him
He
in the
doesn't
receiving
score
game.
in the air. He doesn't have that. But That's why I like Austin Eckler more in terms of full PPR.
I'm a big fan of him as well. I have him at number 4. You said you have him at number 4. Tim, you said what? You had him at
I have him at 6.
6, you said.
Yeah.
You want to know who I have at 6?
Can't wait to
Is it
hear this
Najee
one.
Harris?
Nope, Javonte Williams.
I have him
I
at
have
7.
him on my list, but I think I have him at 8.
I have him at 7.
I have him at 6 because those top 5 running backs, I think that's mostly the consensus of everybody. Like, it's majority of top 5s are going to have those running backs in there. But past that, I feel like I'm not saying like I'm thinking outside the box. I'm just saying guys that I really like that I would rather have as my running back 2 after I take these guys first.
Right.
I mean, I'm a huge fan of Javonte Williams. I mean, Brian, we've been talking about him for the past since he got drafted, to be honest.
I loved him. I hate Melvin Gordon.
I even fuck Melvin Gordon. Even with Melvin Gordon there, I'm still a big fan of Javonte Williams. He is going to eat into the work a little bit, no doubt.
It's going to be 65-35, I'm calling it.
I could definitely see 60-40. I could see 65-35.
They were already last year pretty much 50-50 down the middle.
They were just 50-50.
It was 50-50 down the middle. I mean, what was it? Hang on. I have it right here. Melvin Gordon had 203 carries, and then Javonte Williams had 203 carries. So they were literally 50-50 right down the middle. Same amount of yardage, too. The only thing was that Melvin Gordon got more of the touchdowns than
he got a lot
Williams
of goal line.
did. Yeah, he got a lot of goal line. Williams only had 4 touchdowns with 900 yards, and then Gordon had 8 touchdowns.
To be honest, though, that's still a
yards.
pretty underrated good season for a rookie running back.
For a rookie running back, it's fantastic.
like
It's like he said, like that. Even last year, if you had him as like your RB2, that's a fantastic thing to have.
He ended up turning it on. I had him in the free agency league last year, and he ended up turning it on at the end of the year when I needed it.
I believe he's going to be a league winner this year, and I'll tell you why.
I could see that too.
So their new coach, Nathaniel Hackett, he has had multiple top 10 running back seasons under his belt on multiple teams with multiple players. So he was the offensive coordinator for Jacksonville from 2016 to 2018. In 2017, they drafted Leonard Fournette.
Yep.
He was the number 7 running back that year.
Yep.
Obviously, the next year in 2018, we know that was more injury plagued, and they didn't have anybody else to take that load. However, he became the offensive coordinator from 2019 to 2021 with Aaron Jones there. Aaron Jones there was the number 2, then the number 5, and then the number 10. I think him going here with having Russell Wilson as his quarterback and having a running back that they traded up in the draft to get.
Yeah.
And I personally believe, this is my gut feeling, that they kind of reserved him for when they went and got out a quarterback. Because everybody knew for a while Denver was in the running for some quarterback.
Yeah.
They were kind of stuck in limbo until they got one, to be honest.
So they didn't want to run him. That's the thing with Najee Harris. They ran him into the ground already in his rookie season. That's what happened to Zeke Elliott.
I can't wait to talk about Najee Harris.
So with Javonte Williams, I think they were kind of preserving him for when they got that. So because they want to win.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the 65-35 happens with Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams. And I have him as a league winner. I
could definitely. So here's a question too: if you go wide receiver in the first round, are you comfortable with Javonte as your running back 1 in the second round? Because I am, to be honest.
If I had Cooper Kupp or Justin Jefferson
or Jamar Chase, I would be totally comfortable with that. 100%.
That'd be fine with me because you wanted to have that upside.
Well, I feel like it also depends where you pick too, because I can guarantee you in all of our leagues, he ain't getting past the first 2 picks of the second round.
He's going to go by the 1-2 turn.
Yeah,
probably.
100%.
To be honest, if Melvin Gordon wasn't there, I'd be thinking about him with the 5th pick in the draft.
Yeah.
To tell you the truth. So, that'd be like him getting totally
balls
unleashed.
on you.
But, okay, so you said, Brian, you have Derrick Henry at number 5, right?
Yeah, who's your number?
Tim, who did you say you have at number 5?
At 5, I have Taylor.
Okay, you have... Okay,
Yes.
so my number 5 is Najee Harris. So this is a guy that I've been...
Ugh.
Okay, so this is a guy I was really high on, and kind of as the offseason has been going along, I've kind of been trending downwards on. If you asked me to do this ranking a month ago, I probably would have had him at number 2 or 3. Like, I would have considered him with the first pick probably a month or 2 ago. But kind of like the more I look into it, just kind of... I realize his stats were kind of pretty inflated last year. Like, he got so many carries. And like Brian said earlier, they're already running him into the ground. He had 381 touches last season as a rookie. running back.
That's a lot.
And he didn't get hurt. You know, he was okay for the most part. Like, he 381 touches. And, you know, he did not.
That's a fuck ton.
His yards per carry was not good at all.
Nope, 3.9.
I was going to say 3 point. I know it wasn't over
307
4.
attempts. He had a 3.9
and,
average.
you know, he does get a lot of touches in the red zone. We know he's going to get the volume. The problem I have with Najee Harris now is that he's volume dependent. You know, so number 5, do you want to take a guy who's volume dependent? You know, like, I'd rather take a guy who can break off that who gets the volume and who can break off that long touchdown too. And Najee Harris doesn't do that, to be honest. He doesn't do that. His touchdowns mostly come in the red zone, you know, and to be honest, it's just, you know, I'm trending downwards on him. I still have him at 5 just because of the volume he's going to get. You know, he really hasn't been hurt, but when are his wheels going to fall off? Because he got killed at Alabama too. So
I'm really down on him this year because with number one, their offensive line is fucking terrible.
Atrocious.
It is terrible.
Fucking horrific.
They don't have Big Ben anymore. We don't know what's going to happen.
I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong. I am really high right now. Big Ben, statistically,
we all are.
I'm pretty sure Big Ben was the 32nd, according to PFF. I think he was
the worst
quarterback
in the league
fantasy
QB last year.
So,
I think.
But I just don't think by that statistic, just because like Mitch Trubisky is going to be quarterback 29, it's going to be better for Najee because most quarterbacks aren't going to dink and dunk like Big Ben was at his rate. Najee had 94 targets.
Yeah, I think that's very inflated.
That is very inflating.
To be honest.
And the fact that he has no explosiveness and behind a shit-crafted offensive line, I don't even know their names anymore. I mean, he's at 9 for me since he's a Mike Tomlin running back and he's going to get that volume.
Right? Like, you know the volume. Like,
volume is king.
He's very safe in that aspect. Like, he is safe, but forgive me, I'm high too. If anybody's listening, forgive me, I fucked up, I'm high. Najee actually did not get a lot of touches at all in the red zone last year. I have this written down and I just can't read right now. He was actually 22nd in red zone touches. And for a guy that you just said has no I don't want to say no explosiveness. That's not fair, but not like he's not going to get you that long touchdown like Dalvin Cook or to be even Eckler. Well, you know, like those guys, Aaron Jones, like these guys who can break off those long touchdowns. Like Najee's really not going to do that.
You got to hope that they get on the goal line.
Yeah, to tell you the truth.
Is that offense really going to move with Kenny Pickett or Mitch Trubisky, whoever the fuck it is?
I could see him having a lot of Joe Mixon 20 rush, 75-yard games this year with like 3 or 4 catches.
And he's going to be fine for you, but at his price, which is probably a first-round pick.
You have to take him in the first round.
I have him listed at 4.
Oh, because you have him higher than me.
I have him finishing as RB4. And the only reason I have that is because of the receptions aspect.
I mean,
like
he
Brian
did finish
with Eckler.
I'm pretty sure he finishes to RB4 last year.
That's what I have him as, just because look, Mitch Trubisky, they got him, but there's no guarantee he's going to be the starter the entire season. Because all it's going to take is him having one shade of looking like he's back in Chicago playing for Matt Nagy, and then steps Kenny Pickett.
I just want to like have a disclaimer. I'm not saying I don't like. I'm still very high on Najee Harris, but there are. I think you're right to have all the concerns that you do. Definitely about it. Like I definitely, and that's probably why I won't be taking him with my pick in the first round. Like I
certainly am not,
because I was really considering him at my pick at 5, but the more and more I delve, I don't really. There's too many red flags there. Like, and he's great, obviously, for what you're gonna get. You're gonna get all that volume, but I just think there's better ways to go at that pick. Like, he still deserves to go in the first round just for the volume alone.
He's like a back end kind of guy.
So I can agree with that. We know Brian's top 5. Who's your top 5?
Oh,
if that's the case?
Me, we already talked about everybody. I had Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, Eckler, and Najee. And then 6, I had Dalvin Cook. 7, I have Javonte. 8, I have DeAndre Swift at 8.
I do too.
I want to hear why.
See, I have him. He's my number 10.
See, this is the thing. So he hasn't finished as like a top 10 running back in his career yet. It's only been 2 seasons. However, he's had multiple stretches where he's been a top 10, even top 5 guy. I think there was a stretch last year for about 5 or 6 games where he was the number 1 running back in the NFL.
He's had
or
some
in
rotten.
fantasy.
Yep.
He's had some rotten injury luck. 100%.
And then, yeah, rotten injury luck. Team's bad, so there's going to be some
He
inconsistent
only played
play.
10 games last year, but he was phenomenal in the 10 games he played last year.
I think the offense will improve. I think the team will improve. And I think there'll be more scoring opportunities for DeAndre Swift. I do like him. He's one of those guys where I'm betting on the talent. And I think his talent, he's so talented to where he's going to just be carried in, and he's going to be carrying that offense. It's going to go through him.
He can kind of be like diet Austin Eckler, sort of, like to where, because Eckler had, we were talking about all the receptions and the target share earlier with Eckler, the 14% target share. DeAndre Swift actually, through the 10 games he played, he led all running backs in receptions last year. So, and that was with fucking Jared Goff, with the shitty ass offense they have now. You add Jamison Williams, you have another year from TJ Hawkinson in development, you have DeAndre Swift hopefully coming back healthy now. You have Amon-Ra St. Brown. Jared Goff succeeded with the Rams when he had talent around him. And
he's honestly not a complete bum.
He's got a little bit of talent around him now. I could see the Lions being a lot better. Maybe not.
They're
obviously
probably going to be a 7-win team.
Yeah, obviously not 9-10 wins, but I could see
the
6 to 8.
The best goddamn 7-win team ever.
They probably will be the best 7-win team
ever. They're
going
to lose and win every game by
They're
1 or 2 points.
They're going to fight every single game. They'll fight the fucking Chiefs in game if they play. I don't even know if they play them.
They're going to give the Packers fits.
All right, so here's
Dan
a guy
Campbell.
I kind of want to talk about. Where do you guys have Nick Chubb ranked on your list?
Oof.
Thank you for bringing that up. I have Nick Chubb at 3.
Wow. Okay, because I have him at 9. Where do you have him?
12.
Wow. Okay, so this is the most
interesting. Okay,
this is the most variation yet.
Now,
okay, Tim, you go first.
Yes,
I want to hear
the
why.
reason why
I
have him at 3 is the main reason that I had him even lower before was because when they traded for Deshaun Watson, I really wasn't gonna. He dropped when I heard they got Watson because I really wasn't trying to have Nick Chubb break off an 85-yard run and then Deshaun Watson just steals the touchdown. But now with him facing a possible season suspension,
he might not play.
Nick Chubb, if you didn't know this, was tied for Jonathan Taylor last year with yards per carry. They both averaged 5.5 yards per carry.
He's insanely efficient, Nick Chubb.
Nick Chubb, with having 228 carries, he had 1,259 yards and 8 touchdowns. Longest touchdown was a 70-yard touchdown.
Yeah,
Throughout
he's
his
got those
career,
burners.
he's had the explosiveness.
Without a doubt.
His issue is he get these little nickel and dime injuries that cost him 1 or 2 games. That's his problem. So for me, I have him ranked at 3 mainly because whatever's going on with Kareem Hunt, because they still haven't figured that the fuck out. That's still its own issue that changes every other day. First it's contract issue, then it's other shit.
To be honest, though, and that's my main issue with him was Kareem Hunt, but even when Kareem Hunt missed time last year, the Browns are still pretty clear what they want to do with Chubb. They had just Dearness Johnson step into the Kareem Hunt role. So you kind of just have to expect 17, 18 touches from Chubb a game.
Exactly. And with Baker Mayfield gone now too, who's their starting quarterback if Watson's out?
True.
Jacoby
Brissett.
And he's not the worst.
That could end up benefiting Chubb if he does.
Exactly. That's why I'm saying.
Check down Charlie.
That's why I feel like, he didn't have a ton of receptions last year. I mean, he's
never been
20.
A real catching. That's why I have him at 12. He's going to be consistent. I think he's a solid RB2 or RB1 if you go wide receiver heavy, but don't expect a top 3 season.
I mean, he only got targeted 25 times. Yeah, he had 20 receptions on 25 targets.
He had about a 5% target share, which is abysmal last year. The past 2 seasons, he's averaged 17 and 18 touches a game. He's not going to get more, and I'm not taking a guy like that in the first round, to tell you the truth. He's very touchdown dependent.
Yeah.
He doesn't get a lot of receptions. He will rip off, like Tim said, we all know the talent is there with Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
He will rip off those 70-yard touchdowns. The Browns, just the way they use him, don't really, I guess they don't really want him to get hurt. I guess they don't want to run him into the ground, but he gets nickel and dime injuries anyway.
That's why I feel like this year they really don't have the option to use him the way that they were using him in the past. Deshaun Watson's out. You're not going to call a QB draw with fucking Jacoby Brissett at the 2 or something. You're going to have to run it with Nick Chubb. With Kareem Hunt, too, the big thing is that, 1, it's Deshaun Watson might be out for the entire season, most likely will be.
No, it's going to be 4-6 games.
I doubt that.
No, it's literally 4-6 games.
4 to 6 games?
That's it.
He got it. Yeah, isn't that the max, right?
It went from them talking about a whole season, now it's 4 to 6 games?
Yep.
Good Lord.
Calvin Ridley got a full year.
Calvin
for
Ridley gets a
gambling.
full year for betting on his
For
own team to
fucking
win a
gamble.
game.
He wasn't even there. He wasn't
Good
even with
for
the
gambling.
team.
Lord.
He couldn't even have had any impact on the game.
Sexual
but
assault versus gambling.
All right, so then now with that
You
info,
tell the
I would
story,
probably,
NFL.
with that info, Nick Chubb's still probably at my top 5 because I do love Nick Chubb.
no, he's just
But,
so talented. It's just a problem.
That's why it's hard. It's,
just
like,
This is the thing with Nick Chubb. If you have to bet on him having a damn near 2,000 yard season for
True.
him to finish again ahead of these other guys that I have ranked high, solely based on the reception.
the lack of
receptions,
receptions.
yeah.
That's it. That's why Derrick Henry was like almost an outlier. His top 3 season in 2020, or was it? It was 2020 when he had 2,000 yards, but he didn't catch the ball nearly enough. He still he had 2,000 yards and still wasn't number 1.
Yeah.
He's a beast, but you want the guys that are going to get all those
Yeah.
extra points. That's the
okay,
whole fucking
so then
point.
let me ask this, since we're going back to the receptions thing, because nobody has said this name, and I'm interested as to why. Where do you guys have Leonard Fournette ranked?
He's not in
Not
my
on my
top
list.
15.
Not on your list at
Um,
all.
I just can't. He's not sexy to me. I don't know.
He also just showed up, 260 to the Buccaneers camp or
He
whatever.
did gain a lot of weight, but I don't think they disclosed how much of it was what. But going off of last year's stats, that being said, I don't really think it's one of the things where I'm not going to take him top first round. But I mean, if he's out there late second round, I feel like you got to take him.
To be honest-
just going off his stats last year, off 180 carries, he had 800 yards, 8 touchdowns, but he had 84 receptions.
Do you think those are inflated at all?
I think that's sustainable because the loss of Chris Godwin could.
Yeah.
But they're talking about Chris Godwin possibly coming back week 1.
Well, not Chris Godwin, also Gronk, too. Gronk's done no matter what.
I don't think
so-
Gronk will be too big of
It's still
losing Gronk.
one of Brady's
you're
favorite
right.
targets.
Yeah, but I don't think I mean, I'm not really that high on Leonard Fournette. I just think he's an ugly mid-round running back that you would draft and then regret later. Like
Yeah.
you would be there in the beginning of the 3rd round. You're like, fuck, I need a running back. Let me take Leonard Fournette. And you the year I took fucking Todd Gurley in
He's
free
just
agency
kind of
when
an
he's on
ugly
Atlanta.
pick to me. Because last year he was great because you got him in probably the 8th or 10th round, somewhere around there, and he was a top 10 running back.
Okay.
Nobody really. But now he's going in the 2nd and 3rd, and I just feel like he doesn't have that. He just doesn't have that it for me. You know.
So where do you have him on your list, Tim?
On my list, he's at number 11.
11. So
Because I have another name that I'm actually kind of shocked hasn't been named
I was
yet.
gonna say we've talked
I
about.
do have a name too.
I think we've talked about 10 guys about. I was going to say, why don't we run down our top 10 real quick?
Okay.
So I have Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry,
Mm-hmm.
Austin Eckler, Najee Harris, Dalvin Cook, DeAndre Swift, Javonte Williams, Nick Chubb, and then Joe Mixon is my 10th ranked running back.
Wow, you didn't say the guy that I have.
I
So
know what you're doing. So.
I know, you were thinking the same exact guy.
are you guys talking about Aaron Jones or
Yes.
James Conner?
Nope.
That's what I'm
I'm
talking
not
about.
talking about
so-
either of those two.
Aaron Jones is number 12 on my list.
He is number 7 for me
I want to hear why.
because mainly for the loss of Devante Adams.
Yeah.
The offense is going to flow through Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. And I don't give a Frenchman's
What do you
fuck
mean,
about
Randall
A.J.
Cobb?
Dillon.
What do you mean? You're going to sleep on Randall Cobb
Oh,
like that?
yeah. Oh, fucking old man.
And actually,
When it
Brian's
comes to
got a-
Randall Cobb, I am
Brian's
fucking...
got a point because they did lose MVS too, which is kind of an underrated loss.
Yep.
Rodgers did throw a couple bombs to him.
and they got fucking Alan Lazard and a rookie, Christian Watson.
yeah,
That's
Yeah.
who was a 2nd round pick, if I'm
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
So
He's nothing.
you can't
to
expect
me.
him to make fucking go bombs away right away. This guy's not going to be a star right away. So I can definitely agree with Aaron Jones, and with Devonte Adams out, he's actually averaged 23 PPR points per game with him out. So that is kind of I've gotten higher and higher on Aaron Jones. Like if I was going to make this list again, I'd probably have him higher than Nick Chubb, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Just because of that insane upside. Like Jones will get you those 50, 60-point games. Now, he might have a
does.
point. He might have a game, a couple games where he's a little up and down. He gets you 9, 10, 12, but he can win you weeks.
My
by
only
himself.
issue with Aaron Jones is because I've had him in a lot of my leagues. He's extremely fucking touchdown dependent.
Well, to be
like
honest,
extremely touchdown dependent.
honestly-
Like you're gonna have him and he'll get you like maybe 10 or 15 points, but if he doesn't get a touchdown, you're not breaking 20.
you are kind of right, but I think this year it's gonna help him not having Devonte Adams and
See, but
and,
here's the
like,
thing. I'm not that high on him this year because I'm actually high on the dude who's I think he's going to be splitting carries with this year.
Do you think AJ? Well, to be honest, so what if AJ Dillon what if it's 50-50, but Jones gets all the receiving?
Don't give a fuck.
Too?
If he gets all the receiving, then you got to give it to Aaron Jones.
Because
but
I
my
would
feeling
still,
is,
yeah.
I feel like with Aaron Jones' contract getting ready to come up, they're kind of at the point to where now, if they were planning on keeping Jones, I feel like they would have shipped out Dillon somewhere because Dillon is a talent. We've seen it. Last year, there was glimpses of it. The more and more you read about it, the more and more they're saying now they want to get A.J. Dillon more involved. He already bit into a pretty huge chunk of Aaron Jones' carries last year.
They did
Goal
invest a lot in
line,
him, too.
everything. I feel like now it's getting to a point to where there's more upside for you to have Dillon as your like running back 2 rather than spending an early second round pick because he's going to go early second round. Aaron Jones is going to be out of there relatively early. Someone might take him in the first round.
He's going into second in our league, no doubt.
Exactly.
In the TJ Memorial League, no doubt he goes in the first round. In free agency, or second round, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Free agency, 14-team league, he's going to go in the first round.
Exactly.
no
And that's why
doubt.
for me, I
So,
feel like Aaron Jones is a fantastic player. Don't get me wrong. But it's one of the things where you said where it's like value. It depends on where you're picking him at. Because if I'm looking at it this way, if I have a top, with our league, it's 10 people. I have the second overall pick. I'm going to have to take a running back with that first pick. I am not going to have a choice. If I take a wide receiver, I'm going to have to take Aaron Jones, but he's probably not going to be there in the second round. Somebody will take him because I know for a fact he's definitely not going to get past you if he's there in the second round.
No, he's not.
No shot in hell he's getting
He
past
might
you.
not get
If I
past
went
me
receiver in the
either.
first
Exactly.
round, I
In the
think he's
second
the
round.
That's what I'm
perfect-
saying.
He's the
is-
perfect running back. for
Exactly.
that.
If you go receiver, he's the
yes.
perfect running back. The thing is, though, if I take a running back with the second pick, which I'm probably going to have to, I got no problem sitting there taking Dillon later in the draft, knowing, all right, if Aaron Jones gets hurt, not only do I have his handcuff, but I got a dude who was already eating into his carries last year, and from what I'm reading and how they're talking him up, he's probably going to eat even more of his carries this year. Because personally, I think they're planning on just letting Aaron Jones walk. I don't think they're going to resign him.
To be
I think
honest,
it's going to be have a good day and that's
I
it.
think you're right, but I think that's going to help. I think they're just going to fucking murder him this year.
That was my
True.
And
that could be a thing
because
too.
think about it, that they've invested so much in AJ Dillon. Like they've gotten memed on for that. So
Yeah.
for taking fucking AJ Dillon in the second round, you know, a fucking big ass, you know, fucking power back in the second round.
Yep.
You know, so they have a lot invested in him. They clearly show they want to get him involved a little bit. He really hasn't had any crazy injuries, not to my knowledge. AJ Dillon, Aaron Jones has a little bit.
Yep.
So I think that this year he will likely have a really good year, but I could see him getting into some injury trouble this year because I don't think they're going to be.
Jones?
Yeah, because I don't think they're going to be afraid to run him into the ground.
Well, his issue has
this
always
year.
been the ankle. It's like it's always his injury. Every time there's a cue, it's always ankle. Every time.
So I want to hear on. I know Brian said he doesn't even have Joe Mixon on his list.
Neither do I.
So you got so the only reason why I have him on mine is just because of the volume. You know, we know he's going to get volume, and to be honest, if you're taking a running back in the second round, depending on your league, you might have to take him in the first round. I wouldn't take him in the first round ever, to tell you the truth. But
Nope.
if you're getting a guy in the second round, look, last year Joe Mixon had 334 touches. You know, he had 16 goal line carries, which was third in the league. He averages 21 touches a game. He gets this volume. Now, he doesn't always do a whole lot with it. We know that, but you're still getting that volume. The Bengals have improved their offensive line this offseason. They obviously are going to have a great offense this year. They're going to throw a lot. I think Mixon will get those receptions, and he's going to be on the field for a second down. You know, so I still think he'll get some receptions. They're going to throw a lot. They're probably going to be in a lot of games. They're going to be a good team this year. Mixon's going to be in a lot of good situations to succeed, in my opinion. I think there's going to be games where they're leading, and he can just run the ball down the stretch and have a 25, 30 carry game. He's still in my top 10, Joe Mixon. I know he's never really exploded like we've hoped for, especially like I've hoped for. But, you know.
Well, now, that actually leads me to this real quick.
What?
Because there's a name that is yet to have been said on anybody. So, I'm going to read off the stats, and I want you to tell me if you guys know who this is. This running back finished top 3 in touchdowns last year. On 202 carries, he had 929 yards. He had 15 touchdowns, and he averaged 4.7 yards a carry.
Is it James Conner?
Is not James Conner.
Oh, fuck. I actually don't know. This player might not be on my list. I'm looking at my stats.
And he is just primed to have more carries this year and have a bigger role this year, even in the passing game.
I'm actually curious because I don't think I have this player in my top 15s. I don't recognize those stats.
When I say it, you guys might look at me like I'm nuts and say there's no fucking way that's true, but I promise you it is.
See, I really thought you'd be talking about James Conner or, even David Montgomery, maybe, but...
See, I just don't like James Conner because I had him before and he just burned me so much. It's like Christian McCaffrey. It's once you burn me enough, that's it. You're dead to me. So
who is it? Who is your...
Damien Harris.
Okay, so I kind of... Damien Harris actually just missed my list.
Okay.
He would probably be like 18 or 19.
Landmine. Total landmine,
now,
but go ahead.
I can also see him, like I said about Leonard Fournette, just being another kind of just mid-round running back that you take, and you're just kind of like, why the fuck did I... Like, you're almost better off just punting it and trying to get your running back on waivers, whoever the James Robinson or fucking Phillip Lindsey is this year, and just getting that guy and just splurging all your waiver money on him. Yeah. But I probably would not draft Damien Harris this year. It's not that I don't like him, but New England likes committees. They drafted Ramondre Stevenson fairly, at a decent price last year. They got him a little bit involved last year,
I just don't trust anybody on the Patriots. They're just going to do whatever the fuck it is to win the game. And they're not going to feature anybody. They're just going to do whatever they feel that. They're Bill's like, what do my balls feel like today? I'm just going to,
they don't have any superstars anymore. Like, there's nobody.
They got nothing like that.
But
we got no Tom Brady, so.
We're getting a little tight on time here.
So should we just wrap it up by saying the top 10 that we had, everybody on the list?
Elijah Mitchell at 10.
Smart man. I like that. So my list going down the line, I had CMC. I mean, if he's healthy, it's not even questionable if he's healthy. At 2, I had Derrick Henry, mainly for the volume. Nick Chubb, same thing for the volume. Najee Harris, I had at 4 because of the receptions. Grant, you said he could be a landmine. Absolutely correct. Jonathan Taylor at 5. Austin Eckler at 6. I had Javonte Williams at 7. Dalvin Cook at 8. Damien Harris at 9. And then at 10, I had Elijah Mitchell.
Okay.
Damn. So you guys both had Elijah Mitchell. I mean, I don't blame you, but we just don't know what Kyle Shanahan...
I think he's Shanahan's favorite. He's got the speed that Shanahan wants. They got a running quarterback. They're going to be running the ball. I think they're going to be like the Lamar Jackson Ravens.
I can see that.
Like how much they're going to run.
Trey Lance does have a nice arm, though.
And Elijah Mitchell, he's going to be the first guy to do it. So I like him as a value. And like I said, he's got that speed.
Yeah.
I mean, in the 4th, 5th round, I'm definitely drafting Elijah Mitchell.
He's a good RB2.
Yeah, 100%.
I've been doing mock drafts where I've been getting him as like my backup, like my 3rd running back.
Yeah, and that's
I would
phenomenal.
Be fucking happy with that.
I'd be very happy with that.
And then I got James Conner at 11, and I got Nick Chubb at 12. So that's it.
Yeah, I have James Conner. He just missed my top 12. I have him at 13. Just because, last year was, let's just face it, that was fucking crazy from James Conner. Like, nobody would have bet on that. Fuck off.
But I think he can do it again because he's got the contract. He's got the offense.
He did just get extended.
They released, or they didn't. I don't know. They let Chase Edmonds go. He's gone, and he's got no competition there. And they're going to have scoring opportunities. Kyler Murray on the goal line is a threat that needs to be accounted for, and that's going to open up things for James Conner, I feel.
Yeah, but James Conner also dies every other game. So
he does get hurt.
What
a lot,
running back doesn't die?
You're right that these guys all get hurt.
It's not, bro.
I get it.
The wind blows and his leg breaks.
I get it. But his draft price is probably like a 3rd round pick.
But
that's true. And for the numbers he had, he did have 15 touchdowns. So 3rd round pick, he did 15 touchdowns. That's not that bad.
Yeah.
Don't even fucking trip, bro.
My list was I had Jonathan Taylor at 1, CMC at 2, Derrick Henry 3, Austin Eckler 4, Najee 5, Dalvin Cook 6, 7 I had Javonte Williams, 8 I had DeAndre Swift, 9 Nick Chubb, 10 Joe Mixon, 11 Aaron Jones, and 12 I had Saquon. And that was my top 12.
I mean, look, I agree. I actually think Saquon's going to do good this year. I hope he's going to do good this year.
All that needs to be said about Saquon, just got to stay healthy.
Literally, it's the same as Christian McCaffrey. Just don't die.
Healthy. That's all it is.
Be alive.
I just
That's
feel
it.
like we're just chasing it's like we're chasing that high like that we got years ago. And that's the thing with Saquon Barkley. He had such a great rookie season. And
Like the
everybody's just
heroin dragon in South Park.
They're just chasing that fucking dragon. Like they
Like,
just
catch
can't
me,
wait.
Catch me, catch me. You know, like, catch me. You know,
take me.
that one.
They
yeah,
can't fucking wait to just feel it again. But it hasn't happened. It's been since like 2018 now.
Yeah, since his rookie year, to be honest.
I'm just, that's how I feel about Saquon. I'm done until I fucking see something again.
He just can't stay
fair.
healthy. Yeah,
It's
Or
it
he's
is
100%
fair.
fair.
to like the 4th or 5th round for me to be like, all right, well, this
Well, I can tell you right now, he ain't falling past the third round.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
I would
No
take him in the
shot.
third, but he wouldn't fall back to my pick. Anyway.
No, I mean, no,
I'd
he would
probably
not.
take
Like
him
I'm
in the
telling you,
third.
if he's
Yeah.
out there in the third round, I'm taking him.
But fuck him. Anyway, I think that's
all we got for
all we
everyone.
got.
Yeah,
I think
that's
that's enough to
probably
wrap it up. Thank you guys for listening to this podcast. If you are, all for you or whatever, whoever's out there. But thank you. And this is the Fantasy Mode Podcast. We're out.
Peace.